I think the thematic umbrella for my work is mainly to do with my experience as a Black femme queer person and really focusing on the quotidian, the Black quotidian, the everyday, and doing so in a way to further understand the world around me. Art making has always been a mode, my main mode of survival. It's like a means of salvation for me, truly. Someone who lives with depression and anxiety, and being able to talk about things that I may not have the language for, process things, or even celebrate things. Honor my backside and call the doctor. Tell them it's hidden romance under siege. Genesis, it comes from this project that I started at the beginning of this year, titled Obsidian. I created it as a way to process and also have a place to put the rage that I was feeling that was a result of being abused in many different ways, but there was 2 moments of harm and abuse that really and truly broke me. Nobody wants to hear about my broken heart. And what caused its breaking. The grief that I was feeling around my father, who passed a few years ago, it took on a different color after I was abused physically. So I felt like I was experiencing grief in 2 parts, grief for the physical presence of my father, but then also feeling like I had lost something of myself, but spiritually in my body. And so I naturally came to making work about it. But honestly, in fear of feeling or seeming solipsistic, I guess I kind of used fiction as a way to push myself a little bit from the reality of being someone who was enraged because of being abused. The work is a 3-channel video installation, and the video is projected onto a frosted plexiglass that's floating in space. And it begins with me reading a poem that I had written shortly after my father had passed away. And then from there, it moves into this heartbreak song where I talk about how nobody wants to hear about my broken heart. I guess I was thinking about like the really ugly bits of grief and the grief around heartbreak. Then it moves into what kind of feels like a little bit of an interlude for me. It's a very short piece, and the sound comes from a recording that I had taken during the memorial service for my father. And then the visuals shift from text on screen to these still images that had been printed that are floating in space. In the latter part, there is just me on the screen, but me playing as Obsidian, singing this repetition. And then the very, very end is Super 8 footage of my father in the house where I grew up in, and then my mother outside of the house, and then myself. I really was trying to make the piece feel somewhere in between feeling like haunting, but then also like it's a conjuring of a spirit. The video installation, having the screens face each other, having it be mostly in a black space or a darker space, and then having these images surround the perimeter. And so with the live performance with the choir, I was trying to bring that alive, this feeling of it being maybe haunting, maybe spiritual, maybe some kind of religious practice, or maybe just like an exhale. Thank you.
Thank you.